Morning, everybody. Welcome to this session of Business Bitesize. And I had a coaching call with a client this week, which is not unusual. And they said to me, "Oh, you look really well, Will." And I said, "Well, I'm not surprised. I've just come back from holiday." And that's the thing about holidays. They give you a chance to recharge your batteries, rebuild your energy, so you can get stuck in again, running your business and helping lots of people. So that was my holiday. And I was on the plane. We've all been on a plane. Most of us have heard the safety announcements a few times, and there's a part of that that struck me as being really quite important. That's the bit when they talk about loss of cabin pressure and the face masks are dropping out of the ceiling. And of course, the point that they make is that you should put your own mask on before you help others. And I think that's a really important message for us as business owners, actually, because I think you have to accept that if you're going to run a business successfully and look after the family and look after your customers and look after the team and your colleagues, it has to start by looking after yourself. And I think there's a real risk that we tend to overlook that and we just get very focused on looking after other people all the time and doing all those fantastic things that we just actually forget to look after ourselves. And of course, that's not sustainable. And one of the things I think that does pain me when I start to work with business people, and I've heard this again this week, when people say, "I just don't have time to go on holiday, I'm too busy." And from a personal motivation, when I'm working with people, I do like to understand what their personal goals are. So we're very good at setting goals for the business, but actually, what are the personal goals that you're going to set? Because those tend to be more powerful motivators ultimately. And one of the most common ones I hear is that I'd like to spend more time on holiday. I'd like to spend more time with the family. And I think if you're not doing those things at the moment, I don't think you have a sustainable business. And I think that needs to change. I think that you're working for the business when the business should be working for you. So into all sorts of things in your head, those voices and saboteur sit in your head. It's good to put yourself second. It's good to put other people first. It's selfish to do all these things. But of course, if you don't look after your physical and mental well-being, then you simply won't be able to go on doing those things and helping those other people. So there is a really powerful lesson, I think, for us that we do have to stop and think about ourselves and put ourselves first and make sure that our physical and mental well-being is at a level where we can sustain and we can keep helping all these other people. And following on from that, again, another conversation this week about today. So it's bank holiday weekend as it happens when I'm doing this video. And people thinking about taking Thursday off and then telling me all the things that they have to do, why they can't take Thursday off. So you just stop for a moment and say, well, just explain to me what the real consequences are. If you don't do that work today, you do it on Tuesday. What's the real consequences? What's the worst thing that could happen? When you start to talk that through, you start to think, actually, okay, well, maybe I could do it on Tuesday and have Thursday off. And then you start to ask questions about, well, what are the alternatives? What else could you do with your time if you weren't at the office or at work or in your business today? What's the alternative ways you could spend your time? And how important is that? So if it's spending time with the family, young children or something, if you spend that time with them as an alternative, what's the consequences there if you don't spend that time with them? What if you do come to the business and you don't spend that time, that extra day with your family? What's the potential consequences there? I think if you have those conversations, you start to realize that this driver that a lot of us have to help others tends to overrule, and then the voices in our head tend to exaggerate the consequences of not doing those things first. When you start to pull that apart, when you start to try and challenge some of those habits, you start to realize actually the consequences aren't perhaps as significant as the voice in your head is telling you. So yeah, I think it's a simple thing. Sat on the plane, put your own mask on first. And I think it's a powerful message for all of us, actually, just to remember that we do need to look after ourselves, because by doing that, as a way of guarantee we can look after others going forward. So is your business model sustainable? Are you working for the business? Is the business working for you? Are you over exaggerating the consequences in some cases? And frankly, are you getting enough time away from the business to recharge your batteries, spend time with the family, and do all those other things that the business should be helping you to do, not hindering you? One to think about. Thank you for listening. See you again soon.